Hi, it's Jane. Today is day 18 of my 40-day journey into tenderness. Um, today, so at the moment, I'm feeling kind of down. I'm not really even sure why. So I'm a little bit tired, and I'm noticing with the food. So I am planning to go stop eating food and just go with blended, like smoothies and stuff soon. And what's interesting is I'm not eating that much food right now. I'm pretty much just having like an apple and some nuts and a salad. Yeah. Um, but I still noticing like with the idea of just going to not eating anything and just having like green smoothies is still, it's like, oh, I don't want to give up the few kind of treats I feel like I'm having. And so just interesting to notice that. In some ways, it's a lot easier because it is so gradual. This cleanse. So actually, I'm not really worried about being hungry necessarily at all. I've actually been really feeling full lately, just energetically. I feel filled up by life, but at times I definitely notice the it's just a desire for food as a distraction or something as a something that's nice. I find myself like wanting to munch a lot at certain times. So just interesting to notice. The card I picked today was Ishtar, Boundaries, which I picked before. And so today it says love yourself enough to say no to others' demands. And but what's really interesting is I'm reading this book called Blossom. It's a book about healing from sexual trauma, and it's set up as something you do practices as you read. So you kind of read a chapter a day and a short chapter, and then kind of do the practice. So it's great. It's by Carolyn Hauser. It's called Blossom. Anyway, so today that chapter was about boundaries, and it was saying that often people who have been sexually traumatized or just traumatized, since we're not in our bodies, we there's a hole, and oddly enough, kind of emotionally unavailable people or very dense people, that energy that comes from that has this like sparkly quality that attracts only those kind of people. And I never heard it described that way before. I mean, I just make sense of it in terms of, yeah, if I have a hole because I'm not in my body, then I attract other people who also have that same kind of wound. But anyway, she described it as like the sparkly energy. It's kind of like a manipulation, which I could see, right? It's like unconsciously, if I have this hole that I want someone to fill, I might, right, use the power of that like attractive quality, like fill me, unconsciously. And so the idea is to be fully present in your body, and rather than putting your attention on other people and trying to match them and lure them, to be fully present. And that goes along with the theme of I was, when I pulled the boundary card the last time, it was, yeah, about it, to rather than having boundaries in terms of like protection from other people, it's more like just being fully present. If you're fully present, then you don't need a boundary because you don't need to protect yourself. But then I don't know, I was really playing with this idea today, and I started to see it a different way. or maybe just expanded on the idea. So a boundary being like a limit, right? A separation. And what if every time I hit a limit, or the sense, the feeling of resistance, or that I even need a boundary, right? Because usually we think of boundaries because we're depleted or uncomfortable, right? And so what if every time I hit that limit, instead of seeing it as a reason to be more separate, I saw it as an opportunity to expand more, to get even bigger so that I could embrace or go beyond whatever limit I'm hitting. And it was interesting because today, I guess I had the opportunity to do that. Like I was, some magical stuff happened today, and yet still I found myself kind of feeling down. Like I was disappointed in this like art piece I was working on. It just didn't look the way I wanted it to. I liked the way it started, and then I didn't like it in the end, and that bothered me. I didn't have the right materials, and it just didn't turn out. And then I realized how ridiculous it was. It was like the art piece itself was supposed to be a celebration. It was like I was making it as about gratitude, and here I am, feeling bad because I don't like the way it looks. And then I had this deliberate interaction with my mom where, yeah, it was kind of something I was excited about, and it didn't end up the way I wanted, and I felt really disappointed. And then I was just like watching myself, like, you had such a good day yesterday. I mean, and good things happen today, and it's like, you're so ungrateful, like, and then I would ask the question, like, okay, like, what's coming up? Like, what's this about? And what's interesting is, I use my tools, and I could shift it. Like when I started to really sink in, it's like, okay, you're feeling disappointed. You're feeling sad. Like, then I could, shift into gratitude by like looking at what's really going on. And, but I would still keep coming back to like this kind of not feeling that great. And what comes to me now is just that you're not always supposed to feel great. I mean, it's like sometimes it takes time for emotions to move through, and just to be okay with that, and maybe that's the opportunity that this limit is giving me. This feeling of like I can't get out of this. I feel like I can't get out of this state. And it's like, okay, how about seeing it like there's nothing to get out of, maybe the point isn't to feel good all the time. So I will share this really remarkable thing that happened. So I don't know if you watched my previous video, but I did this art piece this collage, and it just kind of spontaneously, what I got out of these random images was that I'm making a ladder to heaven out of the creative energy of my imagination, and not just me, but like my team, or we are doing that, and we're bringing the rest of the world with us, something like that. Anyway, I was doing a meditation today, led by a teacher, Saryam, and this is what he said. These are the exact words. The restoration of the feminine, or the one heart. It's a rising within of Kundalini that represents a ladder of vibrations that we can climb through the balance of masculine and feminine energy to reach every level of consciousness and vibration all the way back to source. Yeah, so making a ladder of vibrations that takes us to directly back to source through the balance of masculine and feminine. And to me, the balance of masculine and feminine means they're coming together, they're dancing, and what I saw in that art piece the other day was, yeah, the words on it were, she wants him, he draws near, and then we bring the world. And so I just love that shit. Like, that's amazing, to hear messages in more than one way, just like the boundary thing. So I guess it's kind of like these things are showing me that, I'm still aligned, so there's no problem, you know? And I think I just keep looking for a problem because I'm like, well, if I don't feel good, there must be something wrong. Um, oh, I also had this idea. I've been playing with this idea. I might make a poem out of it actually, but this thing with a line. So, you know, we even say like we have to draw a line here, like the boundary. And instead of when you get to that place where you need to draw a line, um, instead of like trying to force the change,